Hi, good morning. Welcome to Very Nice Vegan again this morning. I've had a lot of you asking me about the pieces of equipment that I use in my kitchen. Now, obviously, you can use any brand, any type you want, but there are some that I have found that are better than others. So this morning I'm going to show you what I have in my kitchen. So in a minute I'm going to turn the camera around, but just so you can see behind me, I've got a few kind of electrical bits and bobs all lined up there, which is the things that I use every day, lots of times actually every day. The kids use it, my husband uses it. They're key pieces of equipment that I need to be able to live the life the way that I do, with the things that I eat, to eat vegan, and on most occasions I'm eating raw vegan personally, but I do have some cooked vegan food as well. But these pieces of equipment I'm going to show you are, for me, I have found in my affordability group, the best things to have. Okay, so this video isn't sponsored, by the way. I'm not saying this because anyone is paying me. I'm telling you the things that I've had that I can afford, that I can use. So I'll turn the camera around and you can see the bits that we have, and we'll go through them, the rough prices, the pros and cons, etc. Okay, here we go. So first of all, you're going to need a really good blender. Now, I've got a couple of blenders here. I've had this blender, which is a Durelec blender. It wasn't particularly cheap. It wasn't very expensive. It was a mid-range type of one. It's good. I've used it for all sorts of things like soups and smoothies and things. The only thing I would say for me personally, it doesn't make things smooth enough for what I would like, particularly if you're in the raw vegan category, if you're making things like cashew cheese sauces, or just general smoothies first thing in the morning. You don't always want something with lots of lumps in, or just kind of that texture. I find it a little bit kind of gagging almost on my smoothies. And if I'm going to eat really good clean food, and a lot of veg and a lot of fruit, I want it to be in a consistency that I'm going to enjoy. Otherwise you're not going to drink it at the end of the day. So what I have upgraded to is this, which I love. Now, on a lot of videos you've probably seen on YouTube, or if anyone says what's the best high-speed blender, the top name that always comes up, or at least it did when I was looking, is Vitamix. Now, Vitamix, I would love a Vitamix. I'm working on my husband currently to get to Vitamix, but that might be something that's a bit further down the line. But for now, I have invested in another high-speed blender. Now, I did a lot of reviews. I went on Amazon, I went on the net, I went on YouTube. You go through all of them to try and find the best product that's for you. And for everybody, that's going to be slightly different, depending again on what it is you're blending. Now, in the mornings, I'll quite often just have like a nut milk, and I make my own nut milks. So again, very important to have a high-speed blender. But I will do things with smoothies, with ice, with frozen bananas, frozen whole strawberries, things like that. And the other blenders, such as this, they're okay, they do the job, but they're not going to be, it's not going to be brilliant. It's not going to be smooth. So you're going to need something a bit more high speed. Now, the other thing I really wanted when I got my blender was a tamper. Now, in the Vitamix videos and things you see online, you'll see they have these tampers for sort of pushing things down as it's blending. I really wanted one of those just because I'd seen everybody else have one. But, I wanted one. So I looked on Amazon and I found this, which I have to say is pretty good, actually. Now, I can't compare it directly to a Vitamix because I don't have one. However, the results of this is pretty good. Now, this one is called a Home Geek, as you can see. It's on Amazon. I think it's about £90, so considerably cheaper than a Vitamix. It's sort of £300, £400, £500, £600, depending on which model you go for. And I'm sure that, like everything, you tend to get what you pay for. But with this blender, I'm really happy, actually. I've made some really good cashew cheese sauces, very smooth. I've done, I've chucked pretty much everything I can think of in it, including nuts. Like a half frozen banana, and it hasn't even, it hasn't blinked. It's just blended everything that I put in it. So if you're looking for a recommendation, that's something that I've found to be quite good. And they're available on Amazon here in the UK. I'm sure you can probably get them in America and things as well. But in the UK, definitely this is a good one to pick up, especially if you've got Prime and it's here the next day and you haven't got to wait too long. It's quite exciting when your new blender arrives. And yes, I know I should get out more. Anyway, that's my blender. I do also have those you've probably sneakily seen in between. I have a Ninja. Now, my kiddies have smoothies in the morning. We don't do cereal bread or anything like that. They do have some bread at a weekend, but they don't have it during the week. I don't think it's something that's particularly good for them. You know, it's what I would class a beige food. We don't do beige foods in the family here. We only do stuff that are full of antioxidants. They're things with vitamins and minerals, and basically looking at loads of stuff with colour. So my advice to you, if you're going to change your diet or thinking of changing your diet, avoid beige foods because they just don't have anything in them. There's just no point in eating them, in my opinion. Now, you might need bread. You might find, oh God, there's no way I can give up bread. And I used to be like that. I actually had quite a lot. I'll turn the camera around just for a minute. I used to have quite a lot of bread. You know, I'd have bread in the morning for toast. I'd have a mid-morning snack of bread. I'd maybe have beans on toast, you know, something during the day. And it's something I never, ever thought I could give up. But I have. And to be honest, I don't want it anymore. Give me some berries, give me, you know, a smoothie, you know, anything like that that is going to be better for me. I would much prefer to go for that. I've just found over time by cutting the bread out, I'm not so bloated. I used to look like I was like 3 months pregnant most of the time because of the bloating from the bread. And I've done quite a lot of reading up on it, and it seems to be like 90% of the population actually is intolerant to bread. We are intolerant to the gluten and everything else, but we're so trained into eating it, we just kind of think that, oh, that's what your stomach does when you eat these things. Well, actually it isn't. You know, that isn't what your stomach should be doing. Your stomach shouldn't be looking that bloated after a meal. And I personally found that my stomach is much slimmer. I'm not feeling like I need to sleep after a meal when I've had bread. I'm enjoying food much more now. I'm eating, in my mind, the right things. Anyway, back to the equipment. So that's the blender. So that's the one that I would go for personally on Amazon. So have another quick look at it there. Like I say, it's about £90. I'm actually going to be putting this one up for sale soon. But I will keep the Ninja because the kids love that for their smoothies in the morning. It's a really easy one. It comes in like a cup that you turn upside down. I'm sure you've seen them with the blades at the bottom. And they just all use it, and they chuck everything in there. Their superfoods, their nut milks, their fruit, their veg, whatever else in the mornings. And they quite often take one. My older lads take them for lunch for school as well. So it's something I wouldn't give up. And because it's smaller as well, I mean, the cup size is only kind of about that size as opposed to the 2 litre jugs. You can do things like hummus in it, grind spices, you know, all that sort of stuff really. So it's a good second blender, I feel. Between those two, I don't think there's anything else that you particularly need. Moving on to the other two bits here, I've got a couple of other things. I've got a food processor. Now, this particular one is a KitchenAid. Was a bit of an expensive buy for me. I've had it a couple of years. I think I got it from QVC actually, because I love buying the larger pieces of equipment from there if they happen to have them, which I don't always, because you can bring them home and try them for about a month. And then if you decide that it's not for you, if it's not performing the way you want it or doing the things you particularly do with your diet, then you can send it back and get your money back. And I just think that's invaluable. When you're looking at a piece of equipment and there's a couple of £100, I've bought Hoovers from there as well. And again, not being paid by QVC to say this, but I have found them on the larger items to be a really good place to shop. They're not always the best price, but if you bought a piece of equipment for £200, for example, and it wasn't any good, then you've lost all that money. So even if they're slightly more expensive than on the high street, to me, you've saved a bit of money, so it's worth the deal. So food press are quite important really for lots of meals that we'll be doing later on in other videos. So handy to have. This is a large capacity one as well. You can get smaller ones. I have seen them in the KitchenAid range and obviously in lots of other brands as well. But for me, I mean, we're a family of 6 and there's no point me having anything little, quite frankly. I need a large food processor. It comes with lots of different blades. It also does things like shreds, carrots and cabbage for slaw and things like that. Now, moving on to my last piece that I have on here, for today at least, and this is my juicer, which I absolutely love. Now, this one was about £300. It's, again, did loads of research on it, and you can see, just turn it around so you can see it. So it's an Omega juicer, and if you have a look online and read their reviews, and I spent about 2 weeks trying to find the right juicer. This is what you call a slow juicer, and there's lots of different types, and it's worth doing your research again. But the slow ones, basically, you're going to extract more vitamins and minerals and things from the food that you're eating. The large ones just kind of crunch it up or blend it all up so quickly. And there is an argument for using a blender against a juicer for this as well, which I'll go through in another video. But by doing it slowly, you're actually getting the most out of your food. And if you are literally eating to live, as I like to say, then you want to be getting the most out of all your food, as many vitamins, as many minerals, as many antioxidants, as many, everything you're putting through, you want to get the best out of. So you want the best machine. There are cheap ones, fast ones. I wouldn't recommend them. I've had them in the past. I find not only are they ridiculously hard to clean and take apart, and there's loads of parts, and there isn't with this. This is so simple, this machine. And I'll go through it when I do my juicing videos. But it's really easy to clean. And I just love it. It looks nice on your worktop. It's nice and shiny. And, the pulp comes out so dry in this box. I mean, this is the stuff that I did this morning. And I've, there's celery, there's apple, there's all sorts in there. And don't throw that out, by the way. If you've got ducks or chickens, they absolutely love it. You can mix it in with your dog food, depending on what it is. Obviously, check to make sure it's an ingredient your dogs can eat. But don't throw that away. You can also put it in cookies. You can mix it with stuff to put in your dehydrator. There's just lots and lots you can do with it, so you don't really waste anything. So basically what's happened with this one is the juice comes out through here at the bottom into another container, which is there, and then all the pulp comes out there. But again, don't waste it. It's invaluable stuff. So the last piece of equipment that I have in my kitchen is a dehydrator. Now this particular one, you can see, excuse the dust, is a BioChef. I also bought this one on Amazon. I am an Amazon person. I'm a carer as well, so I spend a lot of time at home. So going out to the shops was quite tricky. So I signed up for their Prime, and it's just brilliant. Everything is delivered practically the next day, and most of the top brands you can find on there at really good prices. So. But the dehydrator I did get from there, I'm really happy with it. I did think, shall I go for a cheaper one? Do I go for a smaller one? This one I think was about £140, but you can pay, up to £300-400. There's lots of different ones. And again, do your research for the sort of things that you want to do with it. We're just about to harvest all our apples and pears and things off our tree in the garden, which we've just got so much this year. It's amazing. And I should be putting a lot of those through the dehydrator too, as well as the juicer. So really that's it. That's my last piece of equipment. Those are the major things that I think that you need. You don't have to have them all at the same time. And if you're starting out on your journey now of vegan or raw vegan, and you want to know which to go for first, I would say definitely the blender. Always go for the blender. Get the best one that you can afford. Don't, for goodness sake, don't go out and spend hundreds of pounds that you don't have on a piece of equipment. Buy the best that you can afford now. Buy the best food to put through it, and then take it from there. And as you move on, if you feel that you want to upgrade later on, you can probably always get a bit of money by selling your second hand and then treating yourself to a more expensive one a little bit further down the line, which is what I should be doing with my Vitamix. Isn't that right, husband? Anyway, I'll leave that with you all for today and catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye bye.